I hope everyone is doing well. In a continuation from yesterday, one of the things that I learned from the chat is the way that we all think through taking action after listening here, there's a big gap, right? So I want to spend some time today with all of you showing you how to get things done. Because if you have these blocks on your calendar that says client experience, work on systems, does that ever really lead to getting anything done? Yes or no? No, because you're confused, right? Remember, first you're confused, then it feels chaotic, and then you go back to certainty. I just don't know what to do. I'm going to do nothing. So what I want to do is a couple different things. So let me just pull up a second screen here. I'm going to open up a calendar here. So who wants to be a volunteer today? Anybody? Bueller?
I'll do it. Rob Lane and Austin.
Rob Lane. All right, hold on, Rob. I don't know. Rob, talk again?
Can you hear me?
No, hold on. All right. I'm good now. Can you hear me?
Yes, just fine.
Yes, I can. I had to switch my setting. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up a calendar. All right, Rob, what's something you want to work on?
I want to write 5 notes today to past clients. Cards.
Okay. So here are the things where everyone gets stuck. Who am I writing? What am I writing? How do I find the people? Right. So number one, you could pick the 5 people in advance. Number two, what I would do is I would just start going back over your 5 most recent transactions and just go back that way. You need a system on how you pick these people. So how do you pick the people?
Generally if I've spoken with them recently, had some type of interaction, and like meeting them out at dinner or at the golf course or something like that. A follow-up note is always an easy, smart thing to do.
So do you have a thing on your phone that says, right, follow-up notes, and you put the person's name and a couple of things so that when you have the time block, that you know what to do?
No, but I like that idea.
So do you guys see how this all works now, right? So Rob is going to have a note now that says who he has to send follow-up notes. And he knows for each person, he'll write their name and 1 or 2 sentences on kind of what to prompt his brain from, right? So I would, if I'm Rob, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to put 30 minutes, maybe 4. How long do you think it'll take you? 45 minutes?
45 minutes would be good.
All right, ready? Follow up notes, right? Now, here's the important part. If you go to more options, there's a description here. Go to the follow up notes on my phone and write 5 notes to the top 5 people, the first 5 people. And that's it. So now you go here. Do you see in the description, it says follow-up notes, right? Now you're prompting your brain when you get here, go to the follow-up notes on my phone and write 5 notes to the first 5 people on my list. Done. You'll need to have your note cards prepared, a stamp and all that stuff in advance, right? So you'll know. Now watch this. Now Rob puts this here. Remember we talked about that 2.5 hours that says Rob at, let's say at 6 p.m. or let's say at 8 o'clock before he turns his phone off. He has 15 minutes in here to review schedule for the next day. Right now, during this review, his schedule, he'll see that he has notes, right? Let me move this here. So he sees that he has notes to do this morning. So last night he would have looked at it and said, okay, great. Let me make sure I have my note cards and everything all set up. He's all set up. They're on his desk. Rob Lane will be in a Compass office with other people, if there's one close to you. And then he can now actually write the notes. There's no barriers. There's a system that keeps this going forward. But this is how you take ideas and make them implementation. Because if he ditched this link, right? Now he deleted and he didn't look at his schedule. He's going to have a block thing that says follow-up notes. He's going to open his time block. He's going to sit in front of his computer, and then he's going to spend the first 10 minutes trying to figure out who to write a note to, what note he's writing, and everything else. And after 20 minutes, an email is going to pop up, a phone call. You might write 1 or 2 notes. He's going to go back to this, and his brain is going to tell him that this is complicated. This is not a good use of time. Do you think you're going to go back to this again?
No. It's frustrating because it takes too long.
Because we have not prepared.
Right.
But do you see, like, this is why I wanted to spend this time doing this today, because I want to show you how to think through these things. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. So I have the box of note cards right by my desk, ready to go, but they're not stamped. They're not return addressed. So I could do all that stuff in advance, and then it's easier. It's faster. And you
Exactly.
feel like
So one night, if you're watching TV or just doing something aimlessly, right? You can just sit there and put the stamps while you're doing like some sort of filler activity. And, you know, this is, look, I was explaining this to my kids the other day. I'm like, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between people that are highly productive and people that aren't as productive as they want to be is how they use their filler time. So my example the other day was I put my kids macaroni and cheese in, right? And the thing, I literally followed the directions to the T. I'm one of those people. I measure the 6 cups. I measure the 1/4 cup of water. The butter is where the whole thing goes bad because they tell you put too much butter. It's what takes away the cheese flavor. Professional macaroni and cheese box maker here. And there's 11 minutes. So I was explaining to them, look, there's 11 minutes here. In these 11 minutes, I can now sit here. I have to put dishes in the dishwasher. I have to unload these things. And I'm doing all of these things at once as opposed to just sitting here and doing nothing. So understanding how to be prepared, how to use your filler time is the key in productivity. So I'll just pause. Jesus. Can you all hear me again?
I can hear you, but your screen is frozen.
Hold on. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Is it working now?
You're moving, but it's kind of slow.
My internet just cut out again, and now I'm on my cell phone. I don't know.
We can see you and hear you.
Okay, cool. So in essence, the important thing is being prepared, understanding, to have some sort of framework and system for what you do. All right, so who wants to go next? So Rob has a prospecting one. Who wants to share one that someone wants to work on systems, client experience, or something along those lines?
I'll do it.
Who's that?
Deborah in
Hey, Deborah.
Denver.
Good morning.
Hi.
Deborah in Denver, who turned her phone off for a day. You're my hero.
It was so good.
I believe it. Okay, so what do you want to work on?
Well, so really nailing down, let's just call it the buyer process, right? So they get under contract, I send them a little gift card for dinner, and we go to inspection, I bring some water, that type of stuff.
So you want to work on the point where the contract is signed to closing?
Well, the whole thing, but yeah, we can take
Well,
that.
okay, so ready? What
Yeah.
is the whole thing? Let's start by defining what.
Okay, so, well, the thing that you're going to start teaching us next year, right? So from the beginning, you have your meeting, you go out looking, you remember to bring water and snacks in the car for the
So
kids.
there's two parts. Ready?
Yes.
There's the consultation and the pitch, right?
Yep.
Which is hearing the client. And the second part is service, right? So
Right.
think about it like this. The real sales starts after somebody hires you. So
Right.
the first part is getting them to hire you. The next part is after they hire you. So which part do you want to work on first?
Okay, let's do after they hire me.
Okay. So let me see if my cell phone works well enough, or you could do time block. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Gotta love technology. All right, so how long are you going to spend working on this? An hour?
That's a long for my
Okay,
goldfish
perfect.
attention span. Let's say a half hour, a couple times.
All right, so ready? You're going to
Yep.
say buyer service process. All right, so you're going to go to more options. So you're going to pick a specific area, right? So the first one I would say in this is you're going to have our checklist. So let's make pretend you're doing this. We can do it all for a checklist, right? So you would say in the service part, if you were doing this for yourself, look, you want to break this up into parts, right? So you're going to say after the appointment to first showing, right?
Okay.
Document every step. When, what causes each step to be triggered, and what the client experience is like specifically for each step. So remember we talked about activity over outcome?
Right.
So now if you looked at this, okay, after the appointment to the first showing, so after the buyer's consultation to the first showing, because that's what comes next, right? So you'll want to document each step, what causes each step to be triggered, that's more for you, and what the client experience is like specifically for each step.
So they decide to work with me and I write them a personal note.
So while you're doing this right now, I'm going to open up a Google Doc now. Hold on. So this is what you would do here, right?
Okay.
So you knew what you're working on. Remember, activity over outcome.
Right.
Right? So now after buyer's agreement is signed, send handwritten note, right? And you're gonna put a time frame within 24 hours
Right.
of meeting buyers. What happens next?
Let's see. I'm sorry, what's the compass tool? Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
Questions.
Yeah, collection, set up collection, send out invite. Also within 24 hours.
So here's my question to you.
Yeah.
At what point have you explained to your clients how this works, what the email they're going to get looks like? Remember, if we're giving people technology, you are the tech support. So you should anyone using collections needs to set themselves up on an account on just make another Gmail address and see what the email's like, what it's like installing the app and the whole process, and do it on someone else's phone. So you can see physically what it's like, because if the people get frustrated doing this, you're just going to go back to wherever they're looking for in the beginning.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, in that case, maybe you'd even send them a next steps email even before you send out or you'd send a next steps email before you even set up collections.
So how about after the buyer agreement is signed, right? We have this in our buyer presentation. I don't have to worry. What happens next?
Okay.
And tell them while you are in person without going into the weeds.
Okay. Okay. So let's say I want to work on this, and then next year you'll be coming out with your own checklist. Then our activity could be to go in and personalize the checklist to us.
Bingo. But it's going, so look, here's the part that I want to highlight to everybody. Where you're going to be stuck is remember we talked about finding the gaps and how people experience you? If this isn't clear for you in the next steps and how this all works, it is not going to be clear for them.
Makes sense.
Right? The people that work at the Ritz-Carltons and the Four Seasons, this is very clear for them. But look, here's the good news. No one thinks about their business this way.
Mm-hmm.
But you do. Does everyone put a smiley face in the chat if you understand this process, and put a help if you still don't understand this process? Because for me, what success looks like and how I wanted you all to experience me today is that you know how to put a time block in your calendar, you know how to be prepared, and you know how to get things done. And do not be afraid to ask for help if you don't know. There's no one judging you here. Lots of smiley faces. So look, the things that I want to highlight. Number one, we want to break this down into bite-sized pieces. And focusing on anything for 30 minutes in small chunks is 100% better than this idea of let's just do it all. You cannot build a scalable 6-7-figure business in 30 minutes. But it's planned and purposeful over a period of time that gives you the skills that you will need. It's time. Time is your greatest multiplier. And if you start thinking about your business in terms of what are my annual goals and how am I going to break them down per quarter, right, Deborah? So if you're doing the servicing part, everything that you should show up for coaching should be around 2 areas next year. Sorry, I think I got a cold from my kids. One is prospecting. 2 is everything around service. And then I don't recommend specifically to you that you attend any other type of session. There's only one other type of session we'll offer next year that I think people all should attend, regardless of where they're working on. We're going to have an agent mastermind where I have all these amazing, really top 1%, number one agents I personally coach. And I'm going to get 12 of them to come, one every month, and share with you what they're doing that's working in their business now, so you can do it too. So it's like one agent mastermind, one prospecting session a week, and the live coaching that's related around to what you do, and then focus on your calendar and implementing it. That's it. That is the simplicity of scale. But if you keep going to all these different chefs with all these different recipes and all this different stuff, you're never going to get anything done. And you're constantly just going to be confused. So my suggestion to everybody, whatever philosophy you choose to subscribe to, go all in on that philosophy. The nice part about here specifically is we integrate Compass tools with your business. I don't care what shows up on your calendar. Delete it. Hide the calendar. Right? I think a good example, like if you're in our community, a good community that mirrors ours is go to 6 a.m.ers because you wake up early. It's a good way to network. Sky has a great message. So you can go to 6 a.m.ers and then show up to our stuff. Don't go to all the other stuff. Just don't do it. Because you're going to get what you need here because we've figured your whole business in one place. But if you're going to 19 different training sessions, it's like trying to learn how to cook one recipe and you're going to go to 19 different chefs and they're all going to give you their ingredients and they're all going to be different. We're already confused to begin with this overstimulation, this oversaturation of stuff. You just need to make it easy for yourselves. So if you have a system, just learn the system. It's why the New England Patriots were great and they did not have the most talent, but they had the best coaching and they had the best system. Watching the cooking channel and spending no time in the kitchen. That's a great analogy. Your current accountability groups, you should just keep them because there is a relationship in that group. I wouldn't change a single thing. And then I would find one other group of people that spends 30 minutes a week working on the things that you're working on, right? If you're role playing, that should be in a 2-person group sometimes. If you spend 30 minutes with another agent or a group of agents every single day, would your business not get better? 100%. If you showed up to one live prospecting session where if you had a question, I could answer it in the chat or I could physically say it like this, would you not make more money next year? 100%. If you took 1 quarter a year out of the year, 4 quarters, and mastered the buyer's presentation, the buyer service process, the listing presentation, the listing service process, wouldn't you be ahead and have more confidence than anyone else? Because no one will ever spend 3 months doing this. Nobody. Listen, the whole view in my point of how people spend their time in education is wrong. You can't, the whole goal of this is to get you to the destination, not putting you on more airplanes to put you to different airports. You're like, wait a second, I'm just trying to get to the resort where I could be at peace and enjoy myself. Because when you go on vacation, you go to the resort. You don't want to go on the flight, but the flight is part of getting to the destination. And for us as entrepreneurs, who in the journey, who you become in part of a journey, nobody can take away from you. That challenge, that grit, that struggle, that working through these things, getting over the constraints in our mind and understanding that you drive the ship. Your mind doesn't control. The mind tells the body what to do. And when you can control your mind, you can control your life. It's understanding that all great things come from 3 areas: mindset, the ability to think through something differently than you did today. So in this session, mindset would be, okay, now I know how to make a simple calendar. I know how to use the notes section of it. I know that I'm going to review my schedule the next day. So I have all the things I'm prepared and I can be productive. Performance coaching, right? Unlocking your promise, getting things done. You know now how to do the calendar and you need to know how to move past your limiting beliefs. And the tactics, I just gave you the tactics, right? There's no shortage of tactics here. You got this. We got this. I have never been more confident in a group of people in my entire life than I am of you. And as you know, I'm like slightly competitive, so I want all you to win. I tell people this all the time. I was on a meeting with some people in Compass Leadership, and my exact words were, if any of the general agents at Compass, regardless of how much money they make and what market share they have, went up against a Chirag Shah Coaching community member and the person was completely objective, they'd smoke them, because the majority of people don't even know how to med see someone to even understand what they want. The people would feel more connected with, they'd feel more heard, they'd feel more engaged with. And these clients and community actually have a luxury hospitality style experience for their clients because they're thinking about it that way. No one else is thinking about it that way. So you will win. Look, next year's an election year. And we know during election years, if you go back to 2020, 2016, the world is filled with chaos for whatever reason there is. And during times of financial uncertainty, people want options. And every person's going to do what they feel is right for them. You saw in Inman, they released an article, I think it was like 30% of homes at some sort of concessions. It's going to become a buyer's market, which means it's now become a skill market. And skill market is where you gain market share and where you trample your competition. Nobody's practicing their skills. Nobody's practicing talking to people. If you went around right now, how many different places can you have access to a pre-qualifying script, client service, a client communication plan, those keys to effective partnership? You control, I control, no one controls. Do those things exist? They do for all of you. But buyers and sellers are very confused on what an agent actually does for them. Remember, if you went to 100 of your clients and says, do you understand exactly what your agent did in exchange for the compensation they received? How many of them do you think would say yes? If you go to a great dinner, do you understand what you got for the compensation received? Yeah, you do. And if not, something's on the bill that you don't understand. Excuse me, I don't know what's this on the bill. When you go to the Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton, you go to a resort, they make it very specific what they get. Unlock your promise. You all have this inside of you. All of you. You are positioned to win. So you need to know that next year, the world is filled with clients that are going to hire you. The world is filled with people that need your style of unreasonable hospitality service. The world is filled with people that need the action takers, the people that believe in themselves, people that create certainty in uncertain situations by providing a great luxury service. And that is all of you. As FDR said, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. You want to be action takers. You want to have unreasonable dreams. Be delusionally optimistic. Know that every person will hire you that you want to hire. Right? We're going to have standards lists, right? We've talked about, there's so many different things that I look back and I was thinking about this morning that we've all worked on that are perfect for where we are today. Deborah, there are not that many people sitting here trying to think about all these little minute details. Because salespeople aren't operations thinkers. That's why we're like, well, we need to give you the operations. We need to give you the system. And then we need to physically teach the system to you live. No one is exempt from feedback and growth, and I'll be the first one that says, I want it. For anyone I've spoke to, I would say, look, one, I want to thank you for being part of the community. Two, I want to understand your experiences, share kind of what's working, but more importantly, how could we have made it better? You know how many great suggestions we got that we're going to be doing next year because of what you shared? It's incredible. So your goal for today is to make one block in your calendar and implement what we learned today. One block. That's it. Sound good, everybody? So I will see many of you tomorrow. You'll see a thing that says national training on your Back to Basics calendar at 11 a.m. We'll be going through a buyer consultation workshop masterclass, and myself and the #1 team in Raleigh, Gretchen Coley, her and I will be role playing out the buyer's consultation. Whole thing. And we'll be like dissecting it like part by part. This is what we did. This is why we did it. This is what we get out of it. So it will be a really cool example of kind of like what the future holds for all of us and what great looks like. So look, as always, love in my heart. I love you all. I hope this was helpful for you all today. You guys feel good about this now? And listen, when you have a win, email me, Chirag@ChiragShahCoaching.com. Right? I want to hear your wins. Share your successes. The more successes that you have, the more you share it, the more we can share it with everybody else. It's good for your brand, good for your business, and it's a good way for everyone else to learn of like what happens when you lean in. So have a productive day. Can't wait to see you all tomorrow, and talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.